Hello and welcome to the first annual Sarge Awards. It's the most anticipated day of the year where I go through all the games I played and pick the ones I liked the best in a variety of categories. The first category is YouTuber you should most subscribe to, and the winner is me. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. I don't talk about this much in my videos, but I actually like sports games a lot. Not simulation, but more arcadey type sports games. And usually I will play like one or two over the course of a year. So I figured they deserved an award. The main sports games I played this year were the Backyard Sports series. They have made a resurgence finally, being made available on modern hardware. The other big game I played was Everybody's Golf Hot Shots. I've always loved the Hot Shots golf games, and this new entry in the series is another solid one. They are definitely AA games through and through. The characters are all relatively unique and have all their little quirks, and this game has a somewhat of a story mode, a pretty expansive single-player mode for you to play through, and is a fun way to pass the time. But I think my actual winner has to be Super Mega Baseball 4. This is a series I have kept up with since its original release back on the PS4. Arcadey and yet still relatively serious simulation kind of baseball game. Every time a new one of these comes out, I always find myself making a new franchise team, playing through a couple seasons, and this game's no different. And so it is the best sports game that I played this year. Next, I figured I would do a best remake or remaster type game. There was a handful this year: Final Fantasy Tactics, Dragon Quest 1 and 2, Trails in the Sky, First Chapter, being some big name ones that I enjoyed. But really the two finalists for this were Oblivion, but then the real winner has to be Persona 3 Reload for me. Talked about it in my video on remakes and remasters. I really enjoy a remake that does add some quality of life to the base game, does improve upon things, but also keeps it as true to itself as possible. And I feel like they did that perfectly with Persona 3 Reload, implementing a lot of advancements that they've made in the combat systems, thanks to Persona 4, 5, and Metaphor, among other games, while still keeping it true to that original Persona 3 experience. This is really, to me, what all remakes and remasters should aspire to be. Next, we have Best RPG. It shouldn't be a surprise. That's also going to be Persona 3 Reload. Close runner-up was Expedition 33, a decent RPG, but even though I do still call it an RPG, the combat stops me from thinking about this game as an RPG, even though, again, I know it is and I will say it is. The other RPG that I played this year that I really enjoyed was Blue Dragon. I replayed that one. That is an old classic from the Xbox 360 era. Definitely a smaller title, one that I get why maybe people don't like it as much as I do, but I just find this game so charming. Yeah, it's got a lot of tropes, and it's very much a JRPG in all the good and bad. It is just a game I really love, and I decided to replay it for the first time in about 15 years this year, and it still holds up for me. It's a game that I like a lot. Nothing really touches Persona 3 for me this year as far as RPGs go. This next category might have been the toughest game for me to pick a winner for, and that is Best Action Game. There's a lot of great action games this year. Wanted Dead and Yakuza 5 were kind of on the outside there, and then the two was between was Hades 2 and Silksong. And for me, Hades 2 just edges it out slightly. Something really clicked for me with Hades 2, and I still find myself playing this game just one more run, trying out the different weapons, trying out different boons from different gods with different weapon combinations to really find out what works. It's a game that rewards exploration of its mechanics and experimentation with some of the different combinations you can have to really find good synergy. And that's something I really appreciate about that, and I think they really focused in and improved that from Hades 1. Next up, we have the best narrative in a game, and this one was also very difficult to pick a winner for the opposite reason. There was no game really to me that I thought had an absolutely outstanding narrative. Expedition 33 is a very polished game with a wonderful presentation, and it has a phenomenal first act. However, I think because of the twist that they wanted to have at the end of Act 2, they actually hurt their story. That twist should have happened much sooner, or Act 3 should have been much longer. There needed to be more story between that twist and the conclusion for it to feel justified for me. And so overall, while the first half of that narrative is very good, it really fell apart for me by the end and ended up being not that memorable to me. Similar Persona 3, I do enjoy the stories of the Persona games, but they are nothing exceptional. They're not anything totally outstanding. And so for me, the best story actually ended up coming from Yakuza 5. This game tries to wrap 5 individual narratives interwoven among each other, all culminating in a big kind of epic showdown. And yes, that showdown at the end is definitely a little cliched and kind of forced. It's also just epic, and the Yakuza games really, I think, ride off of their showmanship when it comes to the boss fights, when it comes to those set pieces. It stops you from really digging in and thinking about it too much. Like, yes, of course, there's been a shadow Yakuza guy sort of overseeing this whole conspiracy or whatever. So it didn't bother me as much, and that was a game for sure that the narrative really carried me through it, and so that's why I wanted to honor it with this award. The next category is an interesting one. I'm calling it the best gameplay game, and really just looking at only the gameplay, what is the best game? And for me, this one had a clear winner, and I don't think anybody's going to see it coming. It's Wanted Dead. And the reason this game gets the award is because everything about Wanted Dead, other than its core gameplay, is horrifically bad. And yet, because of the gameplay being so fun and engaging, I happily played through that whole game. And to me, when your gameplay is that good that it can carry a terrible game, then it has to be honored. When I did my review of it, I called it the room of video games. I think that holds up perfectly. The story's terrible, the voice acting's terrible, it's very janky, but that gameplay mix of third-person shooter and hack and slash action game is fun. It's not necessarily super deep, it's not necessarily super like fleshed out, but it's fun, it works, and yeah, it's a joy to play. In addition to being a light year for RPGs, this was also a light year for puzzle games. I feel like usually I have played many puzzle games by the end of the year, and this year really only 2 stuck out in my memory. Is This Seat Taken and The Blueprints. I have to give the award to The Blueprints. This game is such a cool twist on the puzzle genre by mixing it with the roguelite element. It really brought about such a unique perspective on a puzzle game where part of the puzzle rests in the fact that you have to even sometimes figure out where the clues might be. That in itself is a puzzle, trying to understand the layout of the house, what the different rooms do, how they might interact with one another. And while the execution, unfortunately, is also hindered by that because you are limited by the randomness of the game, and that can artificially inflate the time to solve some of these puzzles or add too much time between solving the puzzle and then actually being able to implement the solution, it's still such a unique and awesome game. Next up, we have Best Indie Game, and again, there is a lot of great indie games this year, but to me, the less you have to work with, the better as far as I'm concerned when it comes to an indie dev game. And maybe it's not fair to judge games based on the team or whatever. Too bad, this is my award show. The Blueprints was developed by one dude, 8 years coding this up. And on top of that, it's a puzzle game. To me, puzzle games seem like the hardest thing to actually develop, because you have to come up with the puzzles, but then how do you know that they're good puzzles? I can play a game that I've made and know if the gameplay is fun. If I've solved the puzzle, and I inherently have because I am designing the puzzle, how do I know that that's a fun puzzle to solve? You can't. And so somehow this person put together this game solo, and the fact that so much of it lands and is so unique and mind-bending, it's just so impressive. That to me is what indie game dev is all about, seeing those small ideas realized by yourself. So yes, Silksong, Hades 2, Expedition 33, I see all the arguments for those games, but to me, Blueprints is the most impressive, and it gets my award. Finally, we have Game of the Year, and for me, this can only be between my 2 Game of the Year choices from my top 10 video. the Game of the Year from 2025, Expedition 33, up against my Game of the Year from whenever, which is Persona 3. And given the story issues I have with Expedition 33 and its second half, and my overall preference towards Persona 3's combat system compared to Expedition 33's, it just barely nudges it out, giving my Game of the Year award to Persona 3 Reload. And there you have it, folks, the award show to end all award shows. It's been great having you here. A fun night of awards. I don't have a epic final game reveal. I guess I can spoil some upcoming videos. I'd like to make another backlog for the year type video, talk about how the last year went, trying to play through some of those games on my backlog. So be on the lookout for those in the future. What games would win at your Game Awards? Let me know. Let me know in the comments down below. What games are you looking forward to playing in the new year? If you liked the video, be sure to hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, or even becoming a member. And I will see you all with the next video.